I've been working this enough years to know that every single time that I open my DAW, I want to change or adjust a little thing, and my default template always changes. And today I will walk you through how it has changed and how you can figure out what your needs are and what to take into account when you're making your own template for working. In this case, we will be working mainly on a production template, mainly for having some instruments available and what's the mindset that I have of things to take into account so I can just open a session and start playing around and start making music. Straight from Mexico City, my name is Juanchis, and let's start building our own template. Okay, so right now my template starts like this. Even the silliest things like where I have my first marker, that I usually had it here at 001, that's not going to be there anymore. Remember that you can adjust negative time in your project going into project settings and hitting the project start measure, because sometimes some songs will not start right on the one, so you can adjust that right here. I usually work around BPMs a lot slower, so I'm going to pull this down to 100. One of my channels will be permanently assigned to inputs 1 and 2, because sometimes I just open Reaper and need to check something that's coming elsewhere from my computer. There are a ton of ways of doing this. Your own audio interface might have a loopback system integrated. Be sure to check that. If not, I will link this software in the description. But you might already have a solution for this. We used to have Soundflower and Black Hole long ago, so I can change my inputs, my outputs, and route with virtual cables anything inside my computer. And the other one will always have a MIDI input of every single channel for something like my MIDI keyboard that's right in front of me. And that's better. And my cursor will be placed at 1111. Also, the theme that you see that I'm using was made by Reaper Tips. I will link it in the description, but I modded it a bit, so you can download it and modify it yourself. Now let's start making the production channels that I would have to use. I will still leave this one as audio 1 and 2. I monitor through an X2P. It has the ante protocol. The preamps sound great, but when I'm having a bigger session, a bigger production, and I have many people in the same room, I will often use my Claret plus 8 pre. And I can route that with the ADAT through ADAT with my other 8 input interface. So I have 16 channels at hand. Another thing to keep in mind is that if you want to be able to solve things faster, because most of the times you will have clients on the back of your head that just want a solution, and it's important even if you're working on your own, because you don't want to lose the ideas that you're having on the go. The input into your DAW has to be pretty much the same every single time, so you don't lose time with that. So if I go here into audio and I go into channel naming, mapping, inputs and outputs, I can name, as I usually use in my own studio. My outputs 1 and 2 will be my stereo outs. My 3 and 4 outputs I'm not using most of the times. My 5 and 6 I'm using them as headphone sends through the snake into the other room. And 7 and 8 are assigned to the main headphones. 9 and 10 are the other headphones. And remember that most of the times you can get crazy or get funky with the routing inside your audio interface software. So in this case, if I'm using my Focusrite interface, I can also assign some playback input. We could make some videos about how to work the software of the audio interface in a less kind of just step-by-step manual guide. But the whole idea is you have mixers. You have mixers all around your computer. So yeah, 5 and 6 always go to my snake, 5 and 6. Here I can send DAW playback 1 and 2, and here I can send also straight from the preamp, so the singer has no latency whatsoever. And I can send him my talkback, my input 6, that's always my talkback, straight from the Focusrite control without having to make a channel inside of Reaper, right? We can make a deeper video about this, but let's get back into the template. So name your channels. That way you will always have pretty much the same inputs in the same channels. For example, I usually use input 1 for my bass, input 2 for my guitars, 3 and 4 microphones, 5 microphones, but through my external ISA preamp. The talkback that I usually don't need to send into my DAW, but that way I avoid sending it into my DAW. The line-ins, because usually I have to record maybe some sort of noise Nord keyboard or something like that. And I could always name more channels here if necessary, right? I apply this, and now I could have my bass channel. I set my guitar channel, mic 3, mic 4, mic 1 ISA. Here would be my talkback, and then I would have a line in stereo, right? Something like that. Not only that, we can start changing all of the inputs, and you could go one by one, but there's an action in Reaper that you might want to use. Remember that actions are always written in the description of this video. You can search on the RIA pack for the Cascade selected track inputs and see what happens right up here. Start at input 1, that's my bass, yes. And now I have pretty much everything set. This is going to be a stereo input set to line L and line R. And it's really fast. I will just change the colors of this. I have a shortcut set up for that, and it's set to random colors. That's the action I'm using. So I could grab all of these channels, right click, save track as track template, and name this properly Claret 8 Plus inputs. And even if I erase them and I need them at any given time, I can just insert track from template, Claret Plus inputs. It's looking for the icons on my tracks. And there we go. It's easy. That probably works really well if I need a couple of people working in the same session, but you might want to add a couple of things. For example, a tuner, if you're going with a direct input. Remember to disable manual correction, track pitch, automatic pitch correction, and just leave it like this. You might also want to be able to see if it's in tune without having to open the plugin every single time. So you can right-click the plugin and show embedded in track control panel or mix control panel. This is a setup that works for most people that have a bigger screen. It doesn't work for everybody. If you're using your mixer, as many people do right here on the bottom, maybe showing it in the mixer control panel takes a lot of space, and that doesn't work. For example, for the guitar channel, you might want to have some virtual amp just for reference and maybe a delay or something. So let's use the Tukan guitar station. I will link a video in the description to John's channel so you can check it out. And maybe you really like the Vox sound, so like you just set it up from the beginning and you have a certain position that you like how it sounds. And remember, it's just so you can get your ideas thrown in faster. If you already have pedals, then you don't need to add any more plugins, but maybe you want to add some sort of delay after this. And maybe you want to add something like Tukan's delay machine. I have a long video on this. I will also link it in the description if you want to learn several ways to have fun with it. On your microphones, maybe you want some tube compression. Remember that this compressor is not recording on the way in, it's only after monitoring, after being recorded. If you want to record with compression, you might want to head into the in effects, and you can see it's a different part because it says input FX chain, right? So let me load a tube compressor as well by Arturia and open the one that's on the track. And you will see that here it says input FX chain. If I have it set up here, it's going to record with this on. But if I have it only on track 4, mic 3, it's going to be only for monitoring, right? So if you like recording with compression or with anything, you just set it up in the in FX. Maybe you want some FET compression for your vocals as well. And I have all of these plugins already set up with my own default preset where I have the sidechain cleaned up and such. My mic 1 ISA, I usually don't need to do anything to this. If you want some sort of EQ, you might also want to take advantage of Tukan's Sum channel and maybe start with the gate off and just have the equalizer on and ready to go. Another thing that might help you load and make your session a lot more stable is either by loading all of the effects bypassed, by hitting this FX enabled, FX bypassed, and that way you can save again your track template and just update it. That's the type of thing that I would be doing every month, every 2 months maybe, if I find out that I'm doing a certain action a lot and I need to have it at hand. So again, even if I delete all of the tracks, I can go here and go into loading Claret 8 Plus inputs. And as you can see, this time it took a little bit longer because you have these plugins loaded, but now everything is ready to go. Let's push this idea a little bit further. Maybe you need to record some drums or you have some sort of virtual drummer that you need for reference. So I have shown before, and I will also link that video in my description, how I set up this EXO by Excellent Audio track template. For those of you that haven't seen that video, what I have here is the EXO plugin already routed through this option on the playback right here, through every single channel out and towards the master. I won't be explaining that on this video because I have a video for that. But now whenever I play, I have all of these channels ready to record all of those parts. So you might want to have everything routed. Remember that if you want to record what that track is receiving, you have to have the ARM enabled and you have to have record output because that's what you want to record. I always have it pre-fader, pre-FX, because I can use again these faders to make my own balance and always be aware of my gain structure. And as you can see, I have on every single track here a sound channel by Tukan as well. So this is ready to go. And once I record that, I can just delete this channel and everything is already routed into this bus. And I have all my drums grouped up here. The problem here is that so far you could keep on adding things that you might need or you might want to use. And that's why I like the idea of using track templates instead of just one big project template. Project templates work as well, but for certain very, very clear objectives. So let's suppose that you're not always sure if you're going to use an electric bass or a synth bass. So let's suppose for this example that we are working with some sort of project template for some sort of 80s vibe where you might need something like that or some 70s electronic vibe. So I will take advantage of something as the Surge XT, that's a completely free plugin, and I will also start uploading videos on the Surge, on how to use the Surge plugin. I know it seems a little bit intimidating at first, but I have a really clear way to explain it. So hit that notification bell so you will know whenever I upload those videos. You always need some sort of harmony reference. So I will just set this up as keys. So there are a few synths that sound more 80s like than the Jupiter and the Juno. So I will just keep them loaded. I will always use the VST versions of the virtual instruments because that way I can record the arpeggiator out of them. I can always record some MIDI out of them if they have some sort of arpeggiator. And for audio effects and audio processing, I usually use the AU version of them. So this way I have pretty much most of my session cleaned up. You might always want to have a couple of delays at hand. So I will make 2 delay tracks. One will be 1/8 and the other one will be 1/8 dotted. And I have the same idea that I have to feel tapey, but I have to start thinking about how to combine the flavors inside of my computer with my plugins. So for one, I will use my delay tape by Arturia with a certain starting position that I like how it sounds, even using the input equalizer and such, and a certain amount of repetitions that I might change further ahead. And for the other track, I will be using a very simple combination of choke tape model that makes the sound hit first the tape sound, and then a very, very simple delay that's dotted with an 8th note added to it. Remember that these effects have to be full wet because you're using them as sends. The last thing that you might want to use or have at hand is some sort of reverb. A lot of people like the Valhalla stuff. They sound great. Pick anything you want, anything you like, and know how it sounds. And remember that it has to be very low CPU intensive because you will be trying to use your session at the lowest buffer size possible. I will use one of the reverbs by Eventide, the Black Hole. That sounds fantastic. And I usually like this preset, Dark Matter, just lowering a little bit the gravity sounds really good. Again, just pulling the mix all the way up and locking it. And there's a free one that I got long ago by Softtube. That's the Tsar reverb, and I will have it full wet, I will have it neutral, and I will make it a little bit longer with a little bit of pre-delay. Remember that pre-delay is the most important parameter on your reverbs. That's the one that makes it all or breaks it all. I will use the simple action, rename selected tracks as first effects. That way I can just add reverb at the beginning and I know which plugin I'm using there. You might think that this is a really CPU intensive template, but we can check it. We can go into View, Performance Meter, and see that everything loaded at the moment is pretty much 7 to 8% of my computer usage. This computer has 32 gigs of RAM, so I have no issues loading even more plugins, but I have pretty much everything I need. One of the important things to remember is that you might want to change these plugins according to your own needs, to your genres that you usually might want to deal with. If you're working with pianos, maybe you want Keyscape. If you're working with with native instruments stuff, you might want to load some Contact instances or Falcon instances or Omnisphere instances. Whatever kind of music you're doing, it's important to have everything at hand so you can just open the session and start making music. Sometimes that's the only thing that matters. And please leave any questions down in the comments. I'll be happy to answer them every single time. I hope this video is useful. If you like these kind of videos, be sure to hit that notification bell, hit that subscription button. Be sure to comment, like, and subscribe, and do all of those things that people on YouTube say. And as usual, straight from Mexico City, my name is Juanchis, and thanks for listening.